All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you all are doing well. Didn't get wrecked this morning. And I hope you guys are in profits, the ones that took a short. That was an amazing short. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look and see what's happening with Bitcoin here. So, going into the daily, we are just about to lose my next kind of support line, which is it's around 61, 124. We're starting to trade underneath it. Kind of our last hope, guys, is going to be the 60,189. If we were to lose that, then we're going to go probably not even to this 59. I would say we're probably going to even go down further. More so into the 50s was, I think, the last time I pulled this. So you'd have to, let's see here, you'd have to pull from a different wick here. So this one didn't hold. Let's see. Yeah, so that is, let's see, where's that at? That's around, that's all the way up here. It looks like 65, so you'd have to start pulling from some of these other ones. So this one down here, that brings you down to 57,304. So I would have that next if the 60,189 doesn't hold, and then we could move further from there. So remember, on the Kraken chart that I had here, let me go back to the daily on this. Um, so we are in this larger consolidation range within 69,603 down to 54,727. So we are now going into the discount of this range, okay? Um, that's a good sign so far as long as we don't lose 54,727, which is the value area low of our previous 2024 consolidation range. So I'm going to be watching that closely. I want to see us react in the 57 range, whether or not we pull the fib from here at 57,852, or if it goes down into that 57, 304 I just talked, or sorry, 57,292, around 57,304. Um, that is still a question up in the air, but I would be looking for a bounce from there if we lose this 60,000 level. Okay. Moving into the 12-hour, definitely a very bearish look. I was a little bit frustrated this morning, I'm not going to lie. I had my limit order set around 63, 270-ish, trying to front run this, and it did front run me, and then it just crashed down. So I would have gotten a great entry, but unfortunately, that's the name of the game, right? The Bitcoin's not going to hit your entries all the time. It's all good. I'm sitting out on the sidelines on my bigger short. I'll show you guys in a minute, but my trend diff did put a short signal out recently, and I'll be showing that on Trading Different. But that is playing out and is in the profit right now. So on my test account, that is working out. It's just on my bigger trading account, I did not get my short entry. So it's all good, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and go into the 8-hour. So the 8-hour you can see is getting resistance off of this 21 MA, which is also around, right above weekly open. That is technically weekly open Sunday at 5 p.m. I was thinking we would get there, or even if it was somewhat slightly, bullish in the micro, we could even get up to 63. I think it was like 63,900, which would have been the midnight Monday open. That's usually another key level as well. This is the 63,940 level I marked out last night. Um, but anyways, we did not get there. So that being said, I'm looking for a possible bounce at 60,000 or around 60,189, 60,002. You could round it up. But until then, I think this is just going to be a free fall. Going into the 4 hours, so you can see, this kind of gives us a weekly perspective even better. So, you can see here, we traded up first for the week come Monday, made our top, and then now we're falling and expanding for the remainder of the week. So, whether or not this comes back up, this could, guys, still possibly, bounce off 60,189 and potentially retest weekly open. So keep that in mind. Just because that, we are extremely bearish for right now, there could be a possible retracement and we could see this more close out in almost like a consolidation candle, like basically an indecision doji in a ways. So be open to that. That is still a possibility if, we get a decent bounce off of here. It is still only Wednesday. If we do not get a bounce here, I would not expect us to make a bottom until Thursday or Friday. So, if we don't get a bounce within this range right here, expect a bottom come Thursday or Friday, more than likely come Friday, but again, you never know. So, diving into the 1 hour, you had a really beautiful bear flag right here, that just kind of played out. This was kind of a almost like a shoulder here. You can even probably see it more in the 15. I don't know if this was, yeah, it's more of like a complex head and shoulder that I see here. So, um, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, and then it just took you down. So that's what we call a complex head and shoulders, and that took you down to the, I believe even further than the measured move now. I mean, this was fairly violent. And, the whole concept behind wrecking double bottoms and double tops really plays out. I mean, since we are in a bearish trend, look at this. Like you have your double top right here. It gets completely, or it's actually a triple top more so, gets completely wrecked by this candle, takes out everybody's stop losses and then runs in their direction, right? So this is how the market is it runs out double tops, it runs out double bottoms, and then reverses in your direction. So that's why, when I did that video, had a session, it's extremely important to keep in mind that, you have your stop loss well above a double top or a double bottom. Because usually a lot of times they will get ran out sooner or later. So just kind of keep that in mind. Um, Anyways, so going into the 10 minute, again, kind of showing the same thing as a 15-minute. I just wanted to see if we're seeing anything different on this time frame. We're getting somewhat of a small bounce here, probably going to be coming up, to the 21, touching that, and then doing our continuation down. We didn't really bounce off of anything in particular. I think we probably bounced off of the top of the next pool on trading different. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Um, but yeah, so far, guys, I mean, it's not looking great for the Bulls at all. So let's go ahead and move into trading different. And this is our daily time frame. So I'm gonna start using this more now, but I'm using this grouping. This is like a grouping, indicator in a ways. It controls our liquidity. So basically what this is saying is that normally this is set to 1, basically grouping these pools by about 1, what was it, 1 million. So essentially, starting the blue pools at 1 million in dollar amount basically. So if I make it a 15, it basically groups nearby pools together and aggregates them. So it makes it look like they are a little bit thicker. It gives you a better insight into where price is going. So this is telling me that, there's a good chance that price is going to go to the downside rather than the upside first, obviously, but you're able to see it visually in a much cleaner way. Um, I like this ability to aggregate these pools. I think it's really cool. So it takes, like I said, right now it's taking nearby pools, grouping them together to showing, starting at 15 million in general, as far as grouped order counts go. And then it's basically expanding from there. So the minimum dollar amount that's showing is 15 million, and then it's going up from there. Moving into our 4 hour, so that high of a number works good in the bigger time frames like the daily. I'm thinking that the 4 hour probably looks better, like maybe with a 7. Let's take a look and see how that changes. Let's see here. Yeah, so still looks fairly decent with a 7 there. But let's check off some of these pools and see kind of where we're at. So you can see, guys, I mean, we're diving into this bigger pool right here. Let me see if I can maybe lower this just a little bit here. Yeah, I would probably say maybe even like a 4 or 3. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a 4 or 3 would work better for this. So your 4 tells you that you're going to take out, the 60,000 area that I was talking about down to 60,000, almost 60,000 even, before you make a bounce. I mean, we're diving into this green pool right here. Um, it looks like there is a potential we're getting the bounce right now. I don't know. Yeah, there's some big orders that came in, so there's a potential that we might bounce right now. Um, let's take a look and see. on our smaller time frames what this looks like. So diving into the 1 hour, I think you got a lot of people trying to go long right here. Let's see. All right, so diving into our 1 hour, you can basically see, and let me increase this aggregation as well. Yeah, so we're essentially front running this green area for the most part, more consolidated liquidity. We took out this yellow and green area this morning. It looks like we may just kind of stay here, consolidate for a while. I would like to see us take out the 60,000 area with violence, because the more likely that we're hovering right above it, the more likely that we're just going to fall through it. It's not really going to be a support zone. So I would ideally like to see for us to take it out and not just kind of consolidate above it. Um, but the market's going to do what it's going to do, guys. I mean, if it does consolidate for a while above it, it's going to basically allow for the 15 minute to meet its 21. We are very extended from it for right now. So if this 21 meets this, if meets price action and we're, in a bearish state, expect some sort of bear flag here, with a continuation lower, right? So expect something like this and then having a continuation down lower, for further losing that 60,000 level. And like I said, if we lose that 60,189, then you're talking like we're probably just going to do a straight drop into the 50s. 50, I'm targeting that 57, 786 level on a bigger time frame. So anyways, that's what I'm seeing so far as far as the smaller time frames go. So the aggregation is there. Yeah, so I want to see this pool taken out sooner rather than later, pretty violently too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's go down into the 5 minute. So I wanted to show you guys, basically I am in this trend diff trade here. And let me turn that indicator on here. Um, so yeah, I mean, you guys can see that this basically why it triggered, I think, with this time around is because we took out this red pool pretty violently, and then it didn't stop, right? I mean, we just kept going after that. So really, I think that this indicator is picking up the fact that there's a lot of weakness in the market. So it's just telling me, hey, you can enter now and be part of the trend. So I took a small entry, took a chance on it. I have my stop way up here above the 21 MA, because I don't fully trust it. I mean, we could get a bounce at any moment, but I'm just kind of testing this out, seeing how this works out for you guys. I did take profit last night when I woke up, so I took profit right before we dropped, honestly, like right about here, which is technically like after this green kind of subsided. You wouldn't have really made money last night. I think it started right around here as we were dropping. So this would have been like a break-even trade so far with this tool if you were to front run that. But if you were to have held it and waited for that double top to get run out, you would have been in the money, right? And I was in the money this morning because I woke up late, so kind of cheated it a little bit. But I'm curious to see kind of how this trade plays out if it's going to continue to the downside. So far, I'm slightly in profit. This is bouncing, so I got in right around here. So I'm not really too much in the money right now. It's like 661,305. So we'll see what happens, guys. Right now this is alluding to like the 5 minute meeting the meeting price action basically and making a bear flag. This is not looking too strong just yet to me. Still market's showing quite a bit of weakness this morning, so just kind of keep that in mind. But I am in a short on my test account with Trend Different. Might lose it. Does look like, there's always a possibility of a bounce here, especially after you take out a big pool of liquidity. And time is kind of against me. This is kind of where I'd be looking for a reversal setup right around now. So I'm keeping that in mind, but I am open to trying this tool out, seeing how well I do within a week's time. I'm using the same trading position size each time, so I will let you guys know how that turns out. But lastly, or almost lastly, I should say, we're going to take a look at Kiyotaka before we move into our simple map, seeing that on the smaller time frames. So Kiyotaka, taking a look here, we just got these orders in. This was a fairly big order that we fulfilled around. It was a 470 Bitcoin order, so that could definitely provide a potential for at least a smaller bounce for now before we start falling through. Obviously, a lot more bigger sized orders to the downside. So that does allude to the fact that we have a better chance of going to the downside. Um, no real orders to the upside until about 67.9. So definitely not a great sign for the bulls. It's just looking really weak, guys. This market's just not looking great so far. So but we know, I mean, we're in a bear market, so that makes complete sense to me that this we're showing weakness. And like I said, Monday we made our high. We didn't want to do that, so yeah, just not a great look so far. Um, but anyways, that's what Kiyotaka is showing, more orders to the downside, so it's alluding to the fact that we will probably go lower. Let's take a look finally at our simple map. So our simple map is going to show us, more on a graph type view where price is most likely to go. So if we zoom in here, this is going to be our scalping time frame. I mean, I've talked about this a little bit in the group in Sin City Crypto, but um, this is, very, it's very low volume. I mean, you're dealing with, in the scalping time frames, I mean, even the 100x around this area, you're not even dealing with a million orders like short term really until you get down into what? You start getting down into here, like, 60,810. And then to the upside, like you don't have even a million orders until around, or $1 million worth of orders until around what, 62,000? So, it can be very violent right now, guys. I mean, this is extremely low volume. So they can flip this on a dime. They can, continue it and make it look like it's, bullish divergence or, they could do all sorts of stuff and that you're not expecting. So be extremely careful right now. This is very low volume, summer trading, right? I wouldn't really put a lot of weight into this right now. Definitely is showing that there's a much better chance that we're going to continue down. But again, like this could turn on a dime and we're not going to know until we see it, right? Um, as far as the swing trading environment goes, this is showing a lot more consolidated liquidity. You do have, more so to the downside, starting at 60,300. You do have about $14.8 million worth of longs that we could be taking out. Really not that much to the upside. Does not give much of um, a lot of pressure to move to the upside, right? So like even you can look here, like starting at 63,900 is when we start having the $1.23 million worth of shorts, so not a lot of influence to move back to the upside for the market makers. Like this is telling the bots like, hey, tons of liquidity to the downside, like let's just move down, right? That's basically what it's saying. So any bounces so far that we're seeing, I wouldn't give a lot of weight to. They're probably going to be short-lived until we get into that 60,000 area. Like I said, hopefully we'll see some more, shorts coming in that we could get some potential back to the upside. But really, just be careful today, guys. I mean, if you're gonna trade, like for me, I'm looking at for right now bigger time frame trades, like on the 4 hour and the daily. Not trying to get into smaller time frame stuff unless, like I said, I'm just practicing with this trend diff indicator and just letting it do its thing. So I'm trying to fully follow it as closely as I possibly can. Obviously, last night was a different story because I was sleeping, but today I'll be following it as closely as I possibly can. So anyways, guys, that is what I have for you so far. If you guys want to try out trading different, again, I'm discovering new tools through them all the time. Highly recommend using them as your, as an addition to what you use for trading through like Trading View or anything else that you're possibly using your charting tool. Highly recommend their tool for liquidity. It has a real clear picture on where price is most apt to go, and it just gives you a really great insight into market price action. So feel free to use my code Sean, tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean. All right, guys, that's all I have for you right now. I will be on probably later on, or I'll be posting an update later on this evening. I will be out of town for the majority of the day, so I hope you guys have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe and take care.